What is up, everyone? This is Ronnie, your host of the Ronnie Osani Show. My number one goal in this show is to bring you some of the most amazing and accomplished individuals in the business world to share with you some real, raw, and authentic business insights. We sit down and talk in a casual setting, nothing too serious, yet we unpack some of the most incredible ideas, concepts, and best practices. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Oh, and don't forget to share the love. Like, share, and subscribe. Gracias, amigos. Hi, everyone. Today's guest is Nicole Santer, founder and CEO of Eventbuzz 360. Nicole has over 20 years of experience in the event industry, working on some of the most interesting blue chip corporate events, and has deep knowledge on what it takes to organize a successful event, whether you're an event organizer or an event supplier. Eventbuzz 360 is a digital platform that connects event organizers with event suppliers and allows creative designers and event suppliers to showcase the creative flair, and at the same time have event organizers be able to tap into and connect with talented event suppliers. In this episode, I sit down with Nicole to talk about her journey and what it takes to create a successful event. Nicole, thank you so much for coming to the podcast. I appreciate you making the time.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Amazing. I'm feeling the energy.
Feeling the energy?
Yeah.
Let's get going with this.
Let's go straight into it.
Yeah.
So maybe we can start with your business, which is Eventbuzz 360.
Yeah.
I love the word 360 in a business name.
Oh, thank you.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
What made you put 360 in it?
Well, the reason it came up with a 360 was a couple of reasons, but the main one was because we couldn't get eventbuzz.com.
Right.
It was going to cost us thousands, and I thought, this is ridiculous.
It is.
I don't want to spend thousands when I can get the same name and put the 360 on it, and it also works with the vision of the business. So it's, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, and,
It's crazy how domains, it's getting harder and harder and harder to get. Like if you were starting a business right now and you wanted a name that is quite simple, straightforward, I get a lot of businesses go with creative names, words that haven't been used before, blah, blah, blah. But also some people like to go down the path of using a word in the name of the business that reflects what the business is about.
Yeah, so that was for me. I mean, I couldn't come up with this obscured name for a business that's all about events, and I felt that buzz kind of goes with events.
Yep.
There's always buzz when you start to, create and design an event, and then, there's right through to designing, planning, and then there's the buzz on the day of the event, the buzz for the guests coming to the event, and the buzz where they're going to talk about it afterwards. So, buzz for me is the energy that I bring to an event, and I just felt that it just works very well. Eventbuzz, it sort of sounds really great together. And then when we couldn't get .com, we decided to put 360 on it, and Eventbuzz 360 kind of just rolls off the tongue quite nicely.
Yep.
So I feel that people will remember it and be quite comfortable saying it and understand exactly what we do.
Yeah, and it kind of gives it another dimension, another layer, having that 360 there. I like it. It's cool. I was just wondering because when I saw it, I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, then you get people saying, Buzz 360, Event 3, they just kind of they shorten it, and then they go, hang on, that's not quite right. So
I think that's just being lazy.
I think so, but I think it's the way people hear it. So it does have its challenges, but I think for me, hopefully people kind of get it. There's other complicated names out there as well,
100%.
And we just hopefully people will be able to pronounce it, spell it, and the whole thing, and find us.
Yeah. Well, in your business, it's all about the buzz, right?
Totally.
Have you always been were you always into events?
Well, that comes with a really interesting story.
Yes, go for it.
Which I have shared a few times on some podcasts. But my parents and my grandparents were actually in catering. My grandparents had many food businesses and catering businesses. And when I was born, or actually before I was born, my parents and my grandparents had a catering business. which I had nothing to do with. And though later in life I did kind of work in the business at some stage, but I never really, it was more a catering business then rather than an events company. And then I kind of went down a completely different route. I went down the route of working in a merchant bank and, stock exchange and, those type of roles. So more banking and finance, which really wasn't suited to my personality or me.
I agree. Not in a bad way.
But, and then I kind of went overseas and traveled a lot and then came back and kind of didn't know what I wanted to do. And it wasn't until I had my first son that I realised that, I always knew I wanted to be in business, but I just didn't know what that business was going to be. And I just sort of felt. And then someone said to me, a friend of mine or a cousin of mine said to me, I've just finished doing this event for our company. And I thought, oh, what do you mean event? For what sort of event did you do? And, I started finding out a little bit more about the events and the corporate world and what people were doing. And I thought to myself, you know what, I could do this. And my mother turned around and said to me, oh, my God, this is full circle for you. I said, what do you mean? And she said to me, well, you were born into events. Now you're going back, you're going to your roots, which is doing events, and it's kind of like a full circle. And I went,
reinventing.
Yes, I'm eventing, reinventing the eventing. So I should have called it reinventing, but that would have had a funny story to it too.
Yeah.
But so I kind of woke up one day as sort of like the aha moment that you have, and you think that, I could be good at this.
Yep.
And I kind of went out very naively and went out and sort of started canvassing corporates and saying, I can help you with your event and do your event work.
Yep.
And I won. You never forget your first client that you win. And
of course,
I won this first client, and it was an awards night for women in business.
Nice.
And I thought, oh, fantastic. And she said to me, we were expecting 500 people. And I'm going, okay, right, first job, 500 people.
Damn.
Okay, so I came home and went to my husband. Guess what? I've got a new job. I've got a job. I've got my first client. I'm so excited. And he says to me, "Oh, great! What's the job? What did you win?" So I said, it's an awards night for 500 people. And he goes, oh, okay, great. And he goes, off you go. And I'm going, I have no idea how to put this event on.
Yep.
I had no experience. I had no suppliers to call on. I had to find suppliers. I had to find ideas. And I had none of that. I had no experience. There was no university course to go and do. So I thought...
They don't teach event
They
management.
didn't. Back then they didn't teach it. Now they do.
Yep.
But back then they didn't. And I thought, oh okay. They call it winging it.
Yep.
So I did a lot of winging it. And we sat down, and my husband's a management consultant, so he was fantastic, and he sort of mapped up the plan of the event very using a methodology, which I still use to this day, and I'm now teaching this methodology.
Wow. And
I've got all the tools and templates that go with this methodology that's able to help people kind of pull their event together. A lot of kids, or not kids, but a lot of students who are going through university now, they're coming out with a wonderful degree, but they still have no idea how to put an event on and where to start and how to go about it. So this is a structured approach, and it helps them whether they're doing an event for 100 people or an event for 10,000 people. It'll give them the structure and the knowledge and the tools to help them do that.
The fundamentals and the foundations of doing an event, regardless of the size, if it's 10 people, like you said, or 1,000 or 10,000, the fundamentals are the same.
Totally. It's the same methodology. It's just a matter of, making it bigger or smaller. The numbers don't scare you. It never scared me. I was always
clearly your first job was 500 people.
Yeah, and so when you do that, then other people hear that you've been doing events and that you've done big events. You get more events thrown to you. So that's kind of how I went out there and started slowly building my business and getting and winning work. And it's not an easy way to go about it, because you're marketing yourself, and then you're doing the events, and then you got to keep
wearing 10,000 hats.
you're wearing 10,000 hats. You're trying to do the events. You're trying to bring in more work so that you can get a bit of a traction happening. And it's not easy, but we're all out there trying, and that's what it's all about.
Hashtag the hustle.
That's right, the hustle, 100%.
So I'm a big believer, going back to the first job, I'm a big believer that life and opportunities don't get thrown at you unless you're somewhat prepared. Like there's a level of, like a minimum level that you have to have. There's no science in this. This is just my belief that opportunities and doors open to you when you have some level of preparation. You might not have everything you need, but you have a few things, and with hard work and advice and reaching out to a few people, that's how you get started. And so I used to think sometimes when something comes up, like, no, I don't have what it takes. But no, you have what it takes when you do a little bit more of your homework and put in a few more hours and reach out to a few more people. And that's how I think a big part of it, when it comes to like people starting something small and growing it, that's what it comes down to. Believing that you can take on that job.
Yeah. Can I add to that? So I probably a little bit naive and really kind of I don't want to say full of myself and my own self-importance, but I've kind of had that attitude that if somebody else can do this, I can do this. 100%. And I was always like glass half full, like I can do this. I've got the tools. I must know how to do this. And if I don't, I'm going to find the way to make it happen. And I think being a real hustler, as you say, is what kind of separates you from somebody else who's not kind of getting there. If you take the time and you keep doubting yourself, then you're never going to get there, and you're never going to achieve anything. So you have to have a level of, I can do this. And that's not to say that like every day you're going to think that you can do this. Some days you're going to think, oh my God, everything's going wrong and I don't know which way's forward and I don't know how to move forward. And then the next day you go, you know what, I know exactly where I'm going again, and you're back on track. So I think it's sort of like, it goes up and down constantly.
It's a roller coaster.
It's such a roller coaster. And, I think you just kind of got to enjoy that journey a bit.
Yep.
And things get thrown at you and someone goes, you know what, I need an event. I've got a conference coming up and, we're expecting 2,000 people. Can you do it? And you go, yeah, sure. And then you work out how to later. And, that's
okay,
kind of,
what?
let that be your biggest problem, that you don't know how to do it and you've won the work, and then you can kind of work it out. I think for me also, I always make the effort to phone people that I don't know that I aspire to be like, or I think I can get some knowledge or some help from. And that's always kind of worked for me. So to have those meetings or pick up the phone to somebody that I don't know that has been successful in an area, and I think, well, maybe they've got some advice or some wisdom or some can help me and point me in the right direction.
Free advice is one of the most underrated, underutilized things. Like a lot of people wouldn't reach out to someone else and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or I need your help with that, or just give me some advice. And maybe part of it is we think that they wouldn't want to help or they wouldn't have the time. And maybe part of it is ego, who knows? But I think it's very underutilized, just being reaching out, and also mentorship. I think mentorship is huge. And if you look at how many people actually have mentors that they talk with on the regular, I'm not sure if you have. I personally, at the moment, I do not have, and it's on my agenda. I did have a few mentors before in jobs that I worked in companies and stuff that were not formally my mentors, but I was always talking to them. I was asking them how to do things better in a friendly fashion rather than like, in a very official way. But yeah, I think most people will give, will have a phone call or will have a one meeting or two meetings with you.
And, you know, I've been approached on LinkedIn. People have reached out to me and said, look, can you help me? I'm in events. I need some advice. Can you help me? So, and I've always had those meetings with the people, and I've tried to help them where I can, point them in the right direction. And I think that that's really kind of important to be able to give back and help somebody else. So I always do that. And I've had people do that for me too. So I think it's important to pass it down the line.
100%. Now, let's go a bit into what you do at the moment. So are you focusing on certain types of events? Do you see an opportunity in certain type of events? I had a look at your website, and I had I went through a few of the pages, and I think you're quite diversified in terms of, what you do. So maybe let's take a step back. So one of the things you do is connect event professionals with organizers and whatnot. So maybe we can go a little bit through what you exactly do, and then
sure. So Eventbuzz 360 is an umbrella platform for the global events industry.
Sure.
So what we're trying to do is we're trying to help event organisers. So if you're an event organiser, maybe you work for the NAB Bank, or maybe you work for another organisation, corporate organisation, and you've been asked to organise an event.
Yeah.
Now, if you've been asked to organise an event, you'll have obviously some suppliers that you're already working with. And you might be, going to those suppliers, you might have used them a few times, and you feel quite comfortable with the suppliers that you've actually been working with for some time. It might be the same audiovisual company, same speakers, entertainers, and you use them a few times. Yeah. What actually happens is sometimes your events can get a little bit boring. The guests see the same type of events over and over again.
Yeah.
And you can look quite poorly to your managers, because they might look at you going, oh, look, Anna is lazy because she keeps doing the same events. They just uninspiring. They're just nothing exciting about them.
There's no buzz in it.
There's no buzz in it, And while she does a great job, she delivers a great event. It's just not very exciting.
Yep.
And I think these days, when you're putting on an event, you have to make it exciting. You have to find elements of wow factor throughout your event. So Eventbuzz 360 is really a platform that allows suppliers to showcase what they can do.
Right.
And it allows Anna, as the the event manager at NAB, that's not a real person, by the way, but it allows her to find ideas. If she goes to Google, it's really hit and miss, and she doesn't know whether they're qualified, they're good, are they the best looking suppliers, are the best suppliers out there for her to work with. Where ours, we actually vet suppliers, and it's a really curated platform of ideas. And and on the other side, we've got the event manager that has got their own company, and they want to find new clients.
Yep.
So they go onto the platform and they showcase their work, and they put their references up, and they put up all their testimonials so that they can show people, here's all the stuff we're doing, all the most exciting events we're doing, and, come and see what we're doing, So, and if you're trying to organise an event overseas, then you should be able to go on there and find your suppliers. And at the moment, there's just nothing out there that can do this.
Yep.
So we're a connector, and we're also a place where people can come and find ideas. Like yesterday, I found the most amazing idea. One of our caterers on the site developed this beautiful gift basket for it was for Kylie Minogue champagne or wine or something.
Yep.
And they put it into this amazing basket, like, picnic basket. But it was more like a carry bag, not a picnic basket.
Yep.
But what was so beautiful is that she had the most beautiful serviettes, and she had the most beautiful wine glasses and this beautiful Kylie Minogue champagne bottle. But underneath that, you take all that out at the top, and then underneath in a most beautiful box, like I'm talking like Apple boxes kind of thing, but it was a whole black box, beautiful box, elegant box, 5-star quality, high end, beautiful box. And you open the box and it had a whole lot of food inside it. Wow. And it was like, oh my God, who gets this gift? I mean, like, this is just, there's gift baskets and there's gift baskets. Yeah, this is a gift basket. Yeah. And this is the difference that you will see. Now, I'll also like to share that, with a conference, if you're organising a conference, it's really important to sort of up the level and make it a bit more exciting than what you would normally do. So, like, for example, the end of last year, I organised a conference for 1,500 people at the ICC. Yep. And we had hundreds of speakers, and it gets really kind of, I don't want to say boring after a while, because all of them are very interesting speakers, but it gets a bit
monotonous.
Yeah, and you need a bit of a break. So in the middle of one session, we had a panel session of 4 or 5 speakers on stage, and I needed to get the mics off these speakers and onto the next lot of panel speakers. And so we decided at the very, very last minute, mind you, which happens quite a bit with events, at the very last minute we decided with the client that we would bring on an act that we did the night before at the opening. Yep. And it was an interactive, I actually designed it. It was actually a table dessert. And so you just brought in a normal big long square table, and the chefs actually created an amazing dessert all made out of natural ingredients like coconut, mousse and cream and stuff like that, and
the goodies of life.
Chocolate, and it was the most amazing thing. So they made this amazing Great Barrier Reef dessert on stage. So we put like Pavarotti music, and everyone in the audience went absolutely.
And a rock band showed up.
Oh my God, it was a bit like a rock band. And let me tell you, I said to the chefs at the end, when you finish, those arms of yours are going up in the big V shape, like da-da, I want a big da-da at the end of this, right? Big crescendo at the end. So like I said to them, like, can you pull this together? Can you create this? And they go, oh yeah, because they were going to do it actually in the kitchen and then bring it out. This is the night before. And I said, no, I need you to do it in front of everybody, because people get involved in the experience.
Absolutely.
And it makes it for like a wow factor. So we did this on stage in the middle of this conference, and everyone in the audience went, oh my God, this is like wow, Yep. So this is like something they'd never seen before. These chefs came on, Pavarotti's playing in the background, and they were going full ball, putting all this dessert out, and then in the break, everyone got to taste it. Yep. So we had little, cones or whatever for people to come up and try it and stuff like that. And it was a real kind of wow factor. And it's something that I think everyone walked away still talking about. And we had also, like, not just, even trying to find bags for the people to go home with, everyone goes, here's a bag. And, half these people, they've been to so many conferences and they've had so many bags. Yep. This is just another bag. Yep. And, instead of just giving another bag, we decided to find a bag that was made out of all recyclable materials. It was made out of plastic recyclable bags or something. But it's the best backpack that you'll ever get. It's made with such high quality goods and goods in it, and I use this backpack still, and it's fantastic. It you slide your laptop in the back there, and it's all cushioned and everything. It's just such a great backpack.
I mean, if you look at any event, it's a moment, right? It's a moment where people spend time, whether to learn, to enjoy, meet other people. And what you're doing is you're creating an unforgettable moment.
Absolutely.
Right? Because people will go home. It's not like it's something that people will see and experience every single day. So when it happens, whilst it's happening, you want to make sure you leave an imprint on them that makes it, as much as possible, long-lasting.
Yeah, I call it the 3 wows.
I like that. Nice.
I'm cloning that. That's my thing, guys. Okay. But if you want to use it, you can always, credit back to me, please. Proprietary knowledge here I'm sharing with you all. So I call it the 3 wows. And, when people arrive at an event, So this is kind of how it goes down. Even if it's a 40th birthday party, right? Even if it's just a birthday party or kid's birthday party, it doesn't matter what it is. What happens? The audience arrive at the party, and the first thing they do is they kind of look around the room, and that they're scanning the room, and they're thinking to themselves, "Oh, how does this look? Does this look nice? Is it, is the decor looking good? Is the decorations, the balloons, whatever it might be? How is that looking?" And then they're thinking to themselves, "Oh, who do I know?" So they're going, "Who do I know? Who can I see? Who can I go talk to?" And then they're thinking, "Oh, okay. Now I've seen somebody over there that I want to go and talk to," and then they're thinking, "I need a drink." And that's the first three things that they're thinking, right? At any event, even if you're hosting something in your own home, dinner party, barbecue, that's what your guests are thinking.
And it's all about, am I going to enjoy my time, right?
Yeah.
These are three things that really, or maybe not, but will kind of tell me, am I going to enjoy my time?
Yeah, and often before people arrive at an event, they've already got some things in their head like, "Oh shit, who am I? Oh, I shouldn't swear. Who am I going to go talk to?"
It's not as bad as other things. Yeah, it's fine.
Who am I going to go talk to at this event? Who do you think's going to be there that's going to be relevant to me that I can have a meaningful conversation with, or a fun conversation with? People want to make sure that their time is well spent.
Absolutely.
Even if you're going to your kid's birthday party and you're going to hang around because your kid's young and whatever, and you've got to mingle with some of the other parents, you want to go, who are the parents going to be that I'm going to go and talk to? Because I've got to waste an hour and a half or 2 hours of my time here. Like, who am I going to have a good conversation with, and what can I bring to that conversation? Well, a lot of people do think like that before going to an event. So the first wow is when they arrive, okay? And there's ways to make that really special. Sometimes you'll see balloons outside the front door, and then you go, okay, great, I'm in the right place. Some people in the corporate world, they might put a poster up saying you're almost here. You're on you're coming in the right way, or you might be you might have somebody meet and greet you. Hi, welcome to our event, and so glad you could come, and here's a drink, and let me take you in and introduce you to somebody. It's just all about that process. And I think moving on, like now, people want that extra, like they don't want to be left to themselves. You can't leave, invite people over and say, help yourself to a drink, it's in the fridge. It's like, people want to be looked after. So it's the same when you're doing a big corporate event or a product launch or a private event. Make sure you look after your guests from the time they arrive, and make sure they feel special. So that brings me to the second wow.
Let's go for it.
So the second wow is what sort of element of surprise can you bring? So if it's a birthday party, it might be like an entertainer might arrive and, create a bit of a wow factor. You might have some showgirls there, or a nice, amazing musician that really sort of blows everyone's, socks off kind of thing, or takes everybody's watch, whichever one. So, you want to make sure that the entertainment is really great. And, understanding your audience, like if your audience don't get up and dance, don't bring, a DJ in, or an entertainer or a band. You've got to bring in a show for them. So try and understand your demographics and what entertainment kind of will fit for that demographics. So you want that wow factor, and it could be in food, it could be in drinks, it could be like you could have a flair bar, you could have, all sorts of different things. You could have something that maybe your drink glows or something, right? You can have cocktails that glow and all sorts of things. So trying to find something, an element that people will talk about afterwards. It could be a speaker at an event that they're going to talk about afterwards. So try and find an element of surprise that people will talk about, and that's when you get the third wow. People are going to talk about your event for the next 12 months, if not longer. So if you're able to hit those three wows, you've made it. You can do it. So that's kind of what I try and tell people, is try and find those three wows and build your event. So build it from the ground up. It's a story, it's a journey.
So I just want to kind of connect the dots around how the business evolved.
So
the question I had was, so because you mentioned the first job you had was, there was an event, 500 people, and you had to put it together. But going into your business model, when you were sharing earlier that you're sort of a connector and a curator by bringing all these different professionals in the event management industry and helping someone who wants to organize an event to find the right people and inspiration. So I look at this and I think, wow, okay, so you are the Airbnb and Pinterest of events, because you connect the buyer and the seller in a way. So it's a marketplace.
Yeah. Yes.
But also you help provide inspiration and ideas and all that stuff. So it's a very, very interesting, and I find it to be very intelligent sort of business model.
Yeah, well, that's the business model. It all came for me when I couldn't find the suppliers, and I know, if I search hard enough, I would find the best suppliers, and it would just take me hours, whether it be suppliers in Sydney, Australia, or Melbourne, or whether they were overseas. It would take me hours of searching. Google just doesn't do it for you. You find ideas, but they're just not, high enough quality, or they're not good enough. They're just very ordinary. And I think that we all want the best. We want the best entertainers. We want the best designers. We want the best of anything that we're going to do. We want the best.
Yep.
We want quality. And I find that if you Google, you just don't find it. You just have to keep digging deeper and deeper and deeper for the right suppliers.
Absolutely.
And then you have to, vet them, make sure that they've got good references, look at who they are, where when you come to Eventbuzz 360, you can see that straight away before you've even contacted them. You can see their references, their ratings, you can see their work, because as soon as they do an event, they can take photos and upload it.
Yep.
You can see people commenting on their work. You can see whether they've got likes on their work.
Yep.
So, it's really... I'm really trying to save people time and money in finding what they're looking for as well.
Yeah, I think if I were to look at the value proposition, I'd say an event is the ultimate thing you do not want to take any risk with.
Well, events are very expensive to create.
And you can't afford to take any risk. So you want to make sure, like, for example, if you were to hire... no offense to anyone or anyone who does anything, but if you were to look for someone to clean an office, for example, or maybe come clean your house or detail your car, right? There's a level of risk that comes with hiring anyone to do anything, but that level of risk varies, right? In my opinion, an event is at the top. It's one of those things you cannot afford to take any risk, because it can damage the reputation, the business reputation, relationships, whatever. So it's one of those things you want to make sure you are hiring the right people, because it's such a short period of time and you have to get it right.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely have to get it right. And, you want to get it right, because if you can find the right suppliers, it just makes you look great. And you get feedback from your managers, you get feedback from the board, you get feedback from the delegates or the attendees, you get feedback from anyone who's arrived at the event, and they're going, oh, this was a really great event, great. Everything was fantastic. Everything was seamless. Everything was fantastic. So you kind of want that kudos at the end of the event as the event manager.
Yeah, of course.
So I think, if I can help people do that, then that's great.
If you want the kudos, reach out to Nicole. So with, 2020, it's been quite challenging for a lot of people with what's been happening, pandemic and all that stuff. So a lot of people are talking about moving forward, how the world is going to evolve, and people are putting all these theories and, speculations, and you've got a few major companies who are saying our staff, our employees can work from home for
forever,
right?
Yes.
And so people look at commercial office spaces and say, oh, this is not going to be the same. A lot of things, and granted, I think quite possible that a lot of things will change. So how do you see the event industry evolving and changing to, what happened and what might change in terms of consumer behavior and people's attitudes?
Yeah. Well, I think we've really gone through a huge change through COVID. And, we've seen such innovation actually come out of COVID. People have had to pivot, probably something that they probably wouldn't have done for 5 years. They had to pivot within a couple of months and do. So we've seen some extraordinary changes, especially in, the startup world and small business. Small businesses are made up of, mums, dads, people, young people, older people who, if they don't work, they don't get a dollar coming in the door. So, it's not as it's a lot easier, I suppose, working for a bigger company as, going through these times. And certainly, everyone's worked from home and has used Zoom very effectively. And from and in the small business world as well, the events industry is made up of a lot of small businesses. And, we've seen caterers who have pivoted so quickly to bring beautiful packaged boxes of food to send to people. They've gone out and found the best boxes and the best ways to gift it up so that they can send it to people's homes. We've seen amazing technology that's come out. So I've got one of my suppliers is got a whole virtual VR exhibition hall. Wow. So you can actually walk through this as an avatar in this exhibition hall and go up to people and talk. And, if you're in the circle, you can actually have a whole conversation. If someone else wants to join the circle, they'll hear the conversation. Anyone outside that circle, they can't hear the conversation.
Is that if I do not or cannot be at the event to
correct
partake?
Yes. So I think going forward, we've got this most amazing opportunity. I think as people, we do like to see face-to-face, and I think that that's never going to go away. We are still going to – it's like, shopping online. Do people still go shopping? 100%. People need that sort of retail outlet. They'll go to the coffee shop and, and have that time out. People are going a little bit stir-crazy being at home. People need to be seeing face-to-face. So a lot of people have actually gone back to the office already because they – at least 1 or 2 days because they just need to be around other people. And not everyone, has got a household of people around them. Some people live on their own and, some people just don't have a good home life, so they do need to get out. I think the same for the events industry. I don't think events is going away at all.
Oh, totally not.
I think people need to network. I think people need to celebrate milestone occasions, whether it be, birthdays, engagements, weddings, funerals, sad times as well, right through to product launches and right through to incentives and conferences. People want to meet new people, and you just can't do that through Zoom. Whilst we will do a lot more hybrid events. So we'll stream, the wedding will happen and some people will attend, and then we'll stream it for other people, and we'll see conferences who will stream speakers in. Adobe's been doing that for years. Adobe has been at the forefront, in my opinion, of the events industry. They've been doing major conferences. They've got umpteen speakers right around the world that come to their conferences, and they have thousands of delegates that also come and attend in live, but they also have thousands that log in to watch live. So they've been doing that for a long time, and now I think the rest of the world's going to kind of catch up. I suppose the thinking behind not having your conference live streamed before was always that we want people to arrive in person and be there in person to experience it. But now the industry has all sort of decided now, look, I think people will come, and those who won't come will never come anyway. So why not give it to them?
Don't try to force them.
Yeah. So I think that I think there's going to be kind of a bit of mixed, but just okay, you know. Look, I think events will definitely never go away. It's around the world before COVID, we were organising 30,000 business and private events a day. A day around the world, 30,000 business and private events a day.
It's insane.
It's a $1.1 trillion industry.
Yep.
So it ain't going out. It's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, of course. I totally agree. And I don't think I was trying to insinuate that I think it will. I was just kind of curious how it evolved or was forced to evolve through the challenging times.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with you. I think the hybrid is where the opportunity is moving forward for a lot of people. And rather than trying to force a specific medium for people to attend the event, having both options being done at the best way possible and at the highest level is going to make you stand out.
Yeah. Look, I think it's exciting times. It's exciting times for, the mums and dads and, I don't mean the mums and dads, but I mean the small business owners of the events industry. It's really exciting times for them. I know that it's been a really hard time for them. Yeah. So the entertainment industry as well, for events, they've found it particularly difficult, but some of them have been really interesting and they've been pivoting and entertaining some of the going to nursing homes and entertaining through glass and stuff like that to keep them really their spirits up, because a lot of family have not been able to go and visit their loved ones in nursing homes, and that's a very difficult time for a lot of people. So trying to keep their spirits up, and there's so much innovation that's kind of come out, and communities are singing between buildings and other buildings and on balconies in different countries. We've seen, the caterers helping out service workers and frontliners with food. We've seen so much innovation, not just the technical side of things, but, I think it's really evolved our industry a lot.
Yeah.
And I think we're in for some really exciting things ahead. And I think, whilst we are going through quite a big change, and a lot of organisations from travel, hotels, we are seeing a huge
setback.
Yeah, they've had a huge setback. But, I think going forward, I think we're going to have some really exciting things ahead. I think, the airlines will start again and they're going to drop the price of flights, I'm sure, and accommodation's going to drop right down. So they're going to encourage people to be travelling, and that's going to be a real benefit for us in the events industry as well.
Yeah, the flights, I think about that sometimes, the economy of flights and the pricing, and part of me thinks that the pricing is just going to be through the roof and it's going to be super expensive, at least here in Australia, where it's going to be done in phases. Like, you're not going to open up, because I think, in my opinion, Australia is a bit more conservative than other countries, especially America, for example. And so I would assume the first approach would be, let's open up bit by bit and see what happens, right? Let's not go all out. And when you open up bit by bit, there's a lot of people who, naturally Australia is a country where people have money compared to other places or parts of the world. And so you'll have a lot of people who can afford to, and people will probably fight over the flights and spaces. So I think it would be very expensive.
I think flights right at this moment are a bit expensive. I think Australia's trying to do very cheap flights within Australia, but I think if you're going to go overseas, then the flight prices are quite high.
Yeah.
So I think people are trying. I mean, I think the airlines are trying to help people stay in Australia
and spend their money
money in Australia. Look, we've had a really, this is 2020, the end of 2020, the beginning of 20. I know, it's like, let's move on. I think everyone's so excited. When I hear all these Christmas songs, I kind of think, oh, it's nice. We're at the end of the year. Thank God we made it.
At the end of the tunnel.
That's right. But, I think that, Yeah, I think we're going to see. I think the airlines are really trying to help us, spend our money here. Earlier this year, we had all those terrible fires, and I think it's been a really rough year for so many people, and I think they're just trying to do the best they can. And I think I think as a nation, as a country, I think we're all just trying to get through and build up our businesses again. And I think it's going to take a bit of time for us to do that.
What are your thoughts on what do you expect in terms of events and policies and regulations when we start to open up more and more around how many people you can have within a certain space? Talking about like festivals, not even festivals, like, stadiums, let's say like, I don't know, Kevin Hart is coming to do a show in one of the big stadiums here in Sydney or Melbourne or whatever. Will there be?
How are we going to work with this? Yeah. So that's a great question, and in each state at the moment and around the world, it's rolling out at different times. So whether you can have a large number or a smaller number, it depends on the venue. It depends on how many square meters per person kind of thing, and that's changing kind of almost weekly at the moment.
Right.
And each location is different, like Sydney's better than Melbourne, and Queensland's better than Sydney, and in every country at the moment. So you'd have to find out what the regulations are at the time of your event. But how are we going to work with this? So when you're organising a large event, and I don't think we'll be doing large events for a little while, but say you've got a conference and that you're expecting 500 people maybe. So and I know you're probably thinking that is a large event, but when I've been doing events for thousands of people, 500 people is quite a small event.
Yeah.
But, even if it's 100 people, or 50 people that you're doing a small conference for, you have to think about the process a lot differently now. So, after 9/11, I'm just going to take you back to 9/11 for those who may or may not remember it. Security at the airports completely changed. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And we're going to see the same with the events industry. So health and safety is going to change. There's no way about, that's how it's going to be going forward.
Yeah.
We're going to have to stagnate the way people arrive at an event. So everyone can't arrive at the same time and have to arrive in certain stages, batches. Yeah. So we're going to have to have a lot more spaces for people to mingle during the breaks as well at a conference. So you have to think about it in a creative way, like what can you do to make the process a little bit more fun and a bit more interesting. So when people arrive, everyone's got to wash their hands on, everyone's got to have their temperature checks. So there's going to be things, maybe there's mask painting that they can do.
I hate the temperature checks. I hate them.
I know, don't you feel like they're getting into your brain?
Yeah, there's someone pointing something at your forehead.
That's right. It's
just annoying.
It should be at the side at least or something, I don't know. Or to the ear, maybe, I don't know. But it is it's a bit confronting at the head.
My gym, every time I go, they have to do it. So now I just go and say, okay, shoot me, go.
That's right, just do it. So, we're going to have to do that. And I think we're going to find that maybe, every time you go to the movies or every time you go into a shopping centre and, I don't know how things are going to kind of roll out. The events industry can take it from the hospitals. What are the hospitals doing and how are they looking after this process? We can look at other industries and see what they're doing. We can look at the airline industry and how they're coping and how they're doing things. So we can learn from other industries. And I think that that's something that's still being worked out at the moment for the events industry. And I think that we just have to look at different industries to work out how we can do this and do it effectively. So I think it is going to be different, but you can try and is there a way that we can bring team building in a way that's really interesting? Can everyone make their own personalised masks and how can we make it a bit more of a fun process as opposed to a scary process or an uncomfortable process? It's like the elephant in the room. Let's talk about it. Let's try and. Yeah, let's address it. Let's try and work out a way that we can make this a fun experience as opposed to this is how you have to go about it, and this is how we have to do it. This is the rules.
That is huge.
You know, we've got to make it a bit more fun and a bit more interactive and a bit more humorous, as opposed to saying, you will stand here, you will go here, you will do this. You know, let's make it fun. So we have to think of new ways to engage and, you know, bring a serious matter forward when you're doing an event.
I think a lot of industries can look at can hear what you just said and take a lot of ideas from that, or take an insight from that. Because, for example, when I go to a bar here in Sydney over the last 2-3 months, or maybe a little bit longer, the experience is not the same anymore. And it kind of made me, like, if I want to go with a few friends, just go for a couple of beers, less interested to go now, because of, you know, you got to line up. And I get it. I'm not like taking, you know, it on anyone, or obviously it's all due to regulations. But what I find super interesting is what you're saying around how do we make the process a lot more fun, and thinking about the customer, thinking about the person who is coming in and their experience, and what this is where creativity comes in, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I do with events. You have to think about. That's why I say to you the 3 wows.
Yeah.
What do they experience when they first arrive? You know, what are they eating? What are they drinking? What are they smelling? What are they seeing? You've got to kind of go through all the senses and see, how am I, you know, looking after this? Where are they going? Do they know where they're going? Is there someone guiding them? You know, you've got to think about all these things. What sort of food? Where do the people with special dietaries go? You know, you have to think about all the elements.
Yep.
And you have to kind of map that out beforehand. So when you want to make an event a bit more interesting, a bit more exciting, you have to map that out and then work out what elements where you can play and make it a bit more exciting.
Do you think generally in events, I'm not too sure because I'm not like deep into the industry, but I would assume that part of their experience is telling them prior to the event what they can expect.
Yeah,
is that a thing?
Yeah, look, you know, I think that you want to let them know things that they're concerned about, or they want to know, like, you know, who the speaker might be, so that they engage and want to come to the event. So you have to tell them enough to get them to want to come. So, you know, yes, you can say, look, I'm having my 40th birthday. It's going to be a circus theme. Dress up in your favorite circus outfit. I don't know, but you know, so you tell them enough that they need the things that they need to know, but you also have to keep back a bit of element of surprise, so that they're not going, oh yeah, I know everything. I know the act. I know the entertainment. I know the breaks. I know everything that's going to happen. I know the type of food that we're going to be serving. You want to keep some of the secrets back,
of course.
So it's like, you know, you give them the cake bit and you keep the topping back so that they don't know everything. There's going to you can tell them there's going to be elements of surprise. You can tell them there's going to be amazing gifts that they're going to come away with, but you don't tell them what the gifts are.
Of course.
You know, so it's kind of like, you know, you don't want to give them all the sugar. Yeah,
don't spoil the surprise. Where I was going with this is going back to making the process like around the restrictions and regulations in anything that involves people being around each other, making it more fun. Does it help telling people ahead of time what to expect and how seamless or fun your event plans to make it?
Oh, I think it's important, especially now, because it's such a concern for everybody.
Yep.
People want to know that how's health and safety going to be addressed at this event before I come? So, you know, some people are more concerned than others, and everyone's got different levels of concern. But I think it's really important to articulate that in the invitation or on the website, that how you're going to handle the event and COVID and health and safety. Even if it's not COVID, it might be just health and safety, how we do things. So that's really important because people want to know that, and it gives them the element of, oh, I know I'm going to be safe. I know that if I arrive, I have to wear a mask. Yeah, I know that if I arrive, I have to sit 2 seats away from the next person. If I arrive, I am going to be expected to have my temperature checked and wash my hands and do this, and this. And people want to know that their food's going to be in a box, not going to be out there for everyone to sort of scoop into. So, it's changed, but, I think that it's something that has to be addressed before people attend, because that gives them the security that they know that this event is safe for them to come to.
Hope I'm not putting you on the spot, but is there an event that happened over the last 2-3 years that you can call your favorite? Or are there like too many to call one?
Do you know what? There is too many, but and to be honest, there's so many great events that I've done. It's hard to choose one or two.
Yep.
But for me, it's not necessarily the event, it's more the clients.
Yeah. Okay.
It's if I really, like and gel with the client, then I know their event's going to be we're in sync, and I know that I can deliver an amazing event for them.
Yep.
So it's really about because everyone's got different budgets, everyone's got different visions, and it's about trying to take a client's vision to life.
Yep.
And being able to do that in a great way. I mean, I've done quite a few different ones, and I had many years ago. I was doing events for Tower Australia, or TAL, TAL, which is TAL.
Yep.
And we did this Star Wars theme.
Interesting.
The CEO was 7 foot tall.
Wow.
So actually, it was actually two CEOs. It was the two CEOs. It was joint CEO at the time, and one was 5'10", the other one was 7 foot tall.
Okay. 5'10"
So
is still not short.
No, 5'10's a good height, but 7 foot's really tall.
Yeah.
So we decided to do a Star Wars theme. I mean, how can you not go Star Wars with a 7 foot tall CEO? So we dressed him up. I took him and got him a whole costume and lifesavers and all the rest of it, and we had him roaming around not dressed up before the event. So everyone's in the cocktail area before the event in their costumes for this Christmas party, and he was mingling around and he wasn't dressed up.
Right.
Because, and then everyone went in, and when everyone went in, he went and got dressed up. And I can't remember what happened to the other CEO, because he had to have all this face painting, so he was gone. Right. He wasn't even mingling at the cocktail party.
Yeah, okay.
And then my client Andrew, he went and he loves the theatrics, and he's gone into acting actually since then, but he loves it. So I said to him, what we're going to do is we're going to get you to make your way up to the stage. So everyone will go in and sit down, and then what we'll do is we'll bring you on like you're an act. Wow. So they came through these amazing doors that we created, these space age doors that came with smoke and light and the whole bit. And they came through these doors, and everyone thought it was like entertainment. Yeah. And they were sort of, using their swords, and they're fighting through the crowd, and, making awesome. Their way to the stage. And then they said, welcome, like Darth Vader was in the welcome voice and everything, and he's doing that. And then eventually, after talking for a few minutes with his deep voice that we sort of, dubbed, and after a while he took off his helmet, and he was the CEO.
And no one knew.
And no one knew. And everyone was, oh, my God. Everyone was standing on their feet going, oh, my God, that's amazing. Like, they thought it was fabulous. So, there's fun things like that, and
of course. That's how you build great cultures too.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Anyone who's listening and thinking, okay, how can we improve the culture? Events is at the top of the list, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think, for me, I love the drama.
Yeah.
If you can create a story and a drama about your event, then, and bring it to life for people, then I think that you're onto something very special there, because that goes to people's emotion. They go, oh, and they buy into it. They think, oh, wow, isn't he a good sport? He's gone all the way to do this for us, So, things like that. That's awesome. Lots of great events.
Love it. Well, I think this is it. It's been, I'm not too sure how long it's been. It's almost closing in on an hour. Is it?
I think we've been chatting for a while.
Wow. Well, it feels like it was 10 minutes.
Oh, good.
I appreciate you doing this.
My pleasure. I hope everyone enjoys it.
Look, I don't care. I enjoyed it. No, it's been fun. Thank you so much. And, we managed to get a few golden nuggets out as well.
I hope so.
Yeah. It's been amazing. Have you enjoyed it?
I have. It's always sort of funny talking about yourself and what you've done and what you haven't done. And, I've still got big shoes to fill with Eventbuzz 360, and we've still got a long way to go. But look, we've launched something, we're out there, and we're looking to grow. So we're on our way, and you've got to take steps in the right direction. So that's what we're trying to do at the moment.
I mean, I definitely see a very bright future for the company, and I think the business model you're going to place is very, very smart, and I cannot wait to see.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's
My
great.
pleasure. All right.
Go.